Want to get God roll items in Borderlands 3? Head over to easynpc.com for cheap weapons, shields, artifacts, class mods, and more, and then go ahead and use code Kree at checkout for 5% off all purchases. Alright guys, what's going on guys? It's your boy Kree here, bringing you guys another Borderlands 3 video. In this Borderlands 3 video, obviously we're going to be going over the Frost Shadow Flak build. If you couldn't tell by the gameplay, this build's pretty disgusting. This build can be pretty nutty, right? I've been dying to make a pretty cool, like some sort of build of like revolving around Flak. Or not just specifically revolving around Flak, but just a build revolving around Cryo in itself. And then I wanted to use like something with like Cryo Flak because you can use the rags and change them into Cryo Element, which is obviously something we're going to be using. But yeah, with that being said, I finally have actually some of the the needed equipment in order to make this build happen, and that is a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, EasyNPC.com. You can tell by the ad earlier at the very beginning of the video. It's a place where you can get cheap weapons, artifacts, class mods, literally anything that you need in Borderlands 3, like to complete a build, you can get from there. So huge shout out to them for helping me get some of the items. I'll clarify which items those are that they help me get later on into the build. But with that being said, if you don't have any sort of terror anointments, that's gonna be a bit of a problem because this build does rely with some terror. That is part of the reason why I named it Frost Shadow, just because like, you know, terror, ghost, something. I wanted to put something ghost themed in the name, so yeah. With that being said though, we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. And yeah, so for the main build, like the main trees we're gonna be specking into is gonna be the Hunter tree and the Stalker tree. I guess we'll go ahead and just talk about the Master tree. Whenever we do builds now, or at least for me, mandatory, I always put 3 out of 3 in Persistence Hunter for the extra gun damage, mostly. And then I know it helps with the actual skill duration, but we're on using rack, so it really doesn't help that much. But I just like the extra 12% gun damage. If you don't want this extra 3, you know, by all means throw them anywhere else in here you would like, but I always like to have the extra, just a little bit of gun damage. It just helps. But yeah, so go ahead and look at the Stalker tree since we're here. We're gonna be throwing 4 to 5 in the self-repairing system for some extra health regen and just maximum health in general, just so we, you know, just sustainability, man. Very important. Eager to Impress, it's a kill skill. Whenever Flak kills an enemy, actual school cooldown time is reduced. We are using a rack attack build, so I didn't feel like it was like too like necessary to put a lot into this. So I only put in 2. Now once again, if you don't want to put in those 3 in here, I mean, you could totally put them into Eager Impress if you want to, but I find that even with a 2 out of 5 into Eager Impress, it still works totally fine, and make sure you can constantly use your rack attacks, which is very important for this build. 2 out of 5 in Overclock for some faster reload, for some faster fire rate. 3 out of 3 in a turn, tail, and run. While moving, Flak constantly regenerates health and gains a damage reduction. While it's still, Flak gains gun damage and fire rate. Very good kill skill, definitely max this out. Lick in the wound so your pet can revive you. 3 out of 3 in the Fast and the Furious. While above half health, Flak's gun damage and movement speed are increased, and their pet gains increased damage. This is mostly for some extra gun damage and a bit of movement speed. Since we are going to be using a lot of cryo, having an extra movement speed is going to help. And then I just threw the 1 skill point into Rage and Cover just for the kill skill, just so we get some more health regen while we're on like, you know, mobbing stuff, because just the more kill skills for a build like this, the better is going to be overall, just overall. And yeah, trust me, you're going to be mobbing like a beast with this type of build. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and look over at the Hunter tree. 3 out of 3 in the Leave No Trace. Whenever Flak scores a critical hit, chance for 1 ammo to be added to our mag. 5 out of 5 in the Interplanetary Stalker, another kill skill. Whenever we kill an enemy, we're going to get 10% damage, 5% pet damage, robot bonus, 7.5% corrosive damage. That doesn't really, we're not using any corrosive in this, so that's kind of irrelevant. 50% active skill damage towards humans, good for our racks, and then beast bonus, 7% movement. But once again, more damage per kill skill, or per kill, which is another also really useful. Then we got 3 out of 5 in a Hunter's Eye bonuses while fighting different type of enemies. Honestly, the only reason I threw 3 out of 5 into this and not into anything else is because I just needed some just to get further down the tree, and I thought Hunter's Eye was better than Ambush Predator and Second Intention. So then we have head count. Whenever Flak scores a critical hit, which will be very often, chance to that their X cooldown is going to be reduced. Obviously, just going to go hand in hand with making sure that we have our racks all the time. Very useful. Once again, another reason why I didn't put 5 out of 5 into eager and impress, or eager to impress. My bad. Then two fang. This one's actually very important. Definitely max this out. It's going to be very helpful for one of the weapons that we're going to be using, if you couldn't tell by the gameplay. Yeah, max this one out. I didn't go anything into big game, mainly because I didn't feel like it was worth it. I felt like the most dangerous game was going to be a lot better when mobbing, especially since it also is a hunter kill skill. Especially when we kill a badass, we'll be getting 25% gun damage, 10% critical hit damage, better handling. It lasts for 2 minutes, and we get some extra pet damage, but it's mostly for some extra gun damage and critical hit damage, which is why I threw that over the big game. I mean, the big game could be helpful, but the 33% hunter skill duration. So yeah, if you want to have this, if you want to have big game, totally take one out of most dangerous game and throw it into this one. Yeah. Glad Shadows must, Megavore must, and then Grim Harvest, extra gun damage and extra skill damage and pet damage. Overall, just really useful. We have one from our class mod, so only throw in 4. Or you know, you could throw in 2 and then put 3 here, or you know, you could go 2 and 2 into here if you want, and then 1 in Persistence Hunter. I'm just throwing out ideas for you guys, just like, you know, overall, if you like, just for you to adjust the build how you want to. But yeah, looking back at it, I do think big game totally has value if you want to use it for sure. We'll go and get into the racks. Obviously, we're using rack attacks. Rack open a cold one. I like that one. Like crack open, but rack. Okay, yeah, sorry. Deals cryo elemental damage, and then between Flak and Load and Falker's Feast, I figured that this would be better just so we get more racks sending out there. And then, I mean, this one could be good, but it's you only get the 1 rack, and I like having, you know, 3 racks. I think that's just better overall. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah. And then I'm throwing on the Countess Spider Ant for extra damage reduction. If you want the extra cryo damage, go ahead and use the Scorcher, but I'm throwing on for the extra damage reduction. And then I'm pretty sure that's everything that we went over here. Yeah, definitely one of these 2 pets for sure. Once again, if you want to use big game, you can. 2 out of 5. Yeah, okay, yeah, everything good. That's okay. Okay, so getting into the actual equipment, this is where things can get a little bit dicey. Now you'll notice that I have a lob here. Where's my other lob? So I have this lob here. I made a video on literally earlier today, talking about like how good this lob was that I got from farming. I try to make this build use the lob as least as I could, and for the most part, I would say that I was definitely succeeding with it and not having to use the lob that often. Obviously, if you have a cryo lob, it'll do wonders here. However, I do think the lob is better on Mo's than on Flak after some further using. Man, the lob on Mo's is just so, I mean, it's so disgusting. But I'm digressing. Regardless, a cryo lob on here is totally, yes. Do you have to have a lob for this build? No, you don't. Good weapons to use. If you have any cryo weapon with a terror anointment, will do good here. The redistributor is a very, very good weapon here. Unfortunately, mine's not anointed, so I was really not using it that much, but I was filling with it a little bit. But I found that it just wasn't as much, so I just kind of threw in a lob on here just in case. The reason why I have a shock lob on instead of my cryo one is just because like sometimes you'd run into like, you know, enemies that are immune to cryo damage, and having a separate side element to deal with those enemies is kind of helpful. But yeah, so that's the reasoning behind the 4 slot. The main thing that's going on here is these 2 weapons, mostly this gun, but we'll go ahead and talk about this butcher here. So this butcher is very important, obviously, for its terror anointment that I said earlier. This build does rely a lot around terror. Why it's got shadow in the name. But yeah, we have while terrified, you gain ammo regeneration. The more terror you have, the higher the bonus. That's very good for quick burst of damage. The good thing about the butcher, it fires really fast. And while we have terror, let me just show you what I'm talking about here. We will actually be able to shoot this mag out a lot more for a lot longer. As you can see, it's very helpful. We got a lot more bang for our buck for 1 clip out of our butcher. versus if we didn't have that anointment on it. So just want to point that out, that the tear anointment on this butcher is what makes this butcher even usable. That, and we have 158% cryo efficiency. What cryo efficiency actually means is that that's the point where they freeze. Yeah, there's a video out there that goes into depth about cryo efficiency. Just know that cryo efficiency is when the enemy will freeze. Okay, so now that we've gone over that, I guess we'll go over the this Jericho. The Jericho's sole purpose on this on here is that for the extra damage reduction that we get. So while terrified, reduce all incoming damage by a small amount. The more terror you have, the higher the bonus. Yeah. That's literally the only reason I have this on here. We have a little bit extra damage reduction from here, and then from the countess, yeah, the 5% damage reduction. It just helps us keep us alive a bit more. Compound that with our rage and recover, turn, tail, and run, and then our self-repairing system will be alive pretty well. And then goes back to this. If you wanted to throw on Faulkner's Feast instead of Flak and Load, you could totally do that for even more health regen if you wanted to. But I find it's pretty good without that, without Faulkner's Feast. Okay, so I guess we'll go ahead and get into the main weapon here, which is going to be this Lucian's Call. This Lucian's Call is so disgusting. Okay, the Lucian's Call General is so disgusting. I have like 6 Lucian's Calls that I still have. Oh, I'm part of the owner now. Okay. Yeah. Oh, bye, Chris. Way to make a guest appearance in the video, buddy. Anyways, the reason why the Lucian's Call is so good, whenever you do crits, you're not gonna reload, ever. You're gonna constantly be able to have crits, and it's just disgusting. As you can see here, yeah, we're not reloading, and we have madness like this that's occurring, where each critical hit ricochets. Combine that with this anointment. While terrified, you get a chance to fire an extra projectile per shot. The more terror you have, the higher the bonus. It's disgusting. Then combine that terror anointment with Two Fang. Yeah, dude, it just makes us to where we fire so many more bullets per single shot. That allows us to just do so much damage, like ricocheting wise. We're gonna freeze a lot more. I mean, dude, you see the point. You saw by the gameplay why this is so important. Look at that. Okay, I'm getting a little sidetracked. Now that we have that out of the way, the Lucian's Call is the main damage dealer of this build for sure. Okay, I gotta start speeding up, dude. I've rambled on long enough. This video is already long enough. So this transformer, I got this transformer from easynpc.com. Once again, huge shout out to them, sponsor of the video, really helping your boy out. Yeah, this anointment's very important. Obviously, when running the takedown, this the transformer's the only shield, not the only shield, but like the main shield you should use when doing the Malawan takedown. Along with this anointment, apply terror to yourself every 5 seconds for the next 18 seconds. Yeah, it's very, very important. And combine that with running racks, we'll be able to apply terror to ourselves literally all the time. There will not be a moment where we don't have terror applied to ourselves. So our Lucian's Call is never gonna not once have be firing just ridiculous, absurd amount of bullets. And it's 3 stacks of terror for every 5 seconds, and then we can always just do even more. So yeah, that's another thing that's very important. Why this build it does so good is this transformer is very a part of that. This transformer and this Lucian's Call really combine and do a lot of the damage. However, we're still not quite there. There's still one more very important piece. Your grenade doesn't matter. Any ASC for bonus elemental damage other than cryo will be great. Literally that's it. That's all I need to say. Any elemental damage other than cryo will be perfect for your grenade slot. Your class mod, I highly recommend running a rack pack. Now this one I have is really not that good at all. Like, it doesn't help out my Lucian's Call literally at all. Like, at all. It's not like at all, and it still does this much damage. That just goes to show you like how useful the rack pack really is. Whenever Flax racks hits an enemy, they split into 2 or more racks that seek out enemies. I made a video on how to get this class mod, so if you don't have it, make sure to go check that out. I'll probably have a video link to it at the in the description somewhere. So yeah, make sure you have this rack pack for sure. And then the next item that's very important is going to be this. Now, once again, Huge shout out to the sponsor EasyNPC for helping me out and get this item. I've been trying to farm out an icebreaker auto idol for about 3 months and just had no luck with it. Luckily, EasyNPC was able to help me out, and I finally have it. The reason why this is so important, right? First of all, have an auto idol is just a really good artifact in general. Restoring 8% of our health after killing an enemy. Yeah, with the amount of mobbing we're going to be doing, that's going to be keeping us alive a lot. Combine that with the icebreaker, increased damage against frozen targets, and then giving us 50% more cryo efficiency. What's basically going to be happening here is that our Lucian's Call is going to be so absurd and firing all the so much cryo damage around that we're going to be freezing enemies so much and just disintegrating them with our crits, with our Mega War. And then our Galactic Shadow, we're going to be having crits going off the board. We're going to be ricocheting so much with the Lucian's Call. We're going to be freezing enemies left and right. And then once they freeze with our high cryo efficiency, dude, the Lucian's Call is 110% cryo efficiency. That's so insane. We're going to be freezing enemies. They won't shoot us back, and we'll be massacring them. And then once we massacre them, boom, 18% health. Really useful. And then we get 17% auto rifle damage. Just kind of helps out our Lucian's Call that much more. But yeah, guys, I know that might have been a lot to take in. I just wanted to go into depth with this build because I feel like this is definitely like one of my like top 2 favorite flak builds. Only reason I'm saying number 1 is because I can't think of the like another one off the top of my head. But yeah, dude, I love this build so much, dude. Once again, huge shout out to the boys over at EasyNPC for helping your boy Kree and getting the items that he needs to actually complete this build. And yeah, guys, if you guys did enjoy the video, go ahead, drop your low on that like button and subscribe if you are new. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and give that bell down there a little bit of love tap for me. I would greatly appreciate it. Once again, if you are having some trouble in getting items required for this build, EasyNPC can definitely help you guys out. First thing at the top of the description. And yeah, my name's Kree. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out, guys.